going on, Jets fans? My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into the Jets Report. And coming up on today's show, we dive into a dream 2025 NFL mock draft for your New York Jets. We're only going to be going over the first 5 picks for New York. Not going to talk about the 6th-round picks, but we'll go through the first 5 selections for the New York Jets. And speaking about the draft here for New York, if you guys want the Jets to crush this year's NFL draft, get the good vibes going, hit that thumbs up icon. If you guys want the New York Jets to have a very, very successful 2025 NFL draft. So at pick number 7 in round 1, I'm going to have the New York Jets selecting Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. I'm a big fan of Tyler Warren and his game. He plays with a lot of physicality. He's just a violent football player at the tight end spot, and he had his breakout season this past season for Penn State. Really one of the stars of the college football playoff. They would use him in some wildcat packages. They would hand him the ball. You've even seen him throwing the ball a couple of times this season. But he had 135 targets, hauled in 104 receptions, went for over 1,200 yards, has that dual threat ability, like I was just saying, 218 yards on the ground. He found the end zone 12 times. So my pro comp for Tyler Warren, he reminds me a whole lot of George Kittle. Both very, very good run blockers. Now, I don't think Tyler Warren is at the level that George Kittle is at the run blocking department, obviously. But in terms of how they are out there on the football field, both very violent runners after the catch, very sure hands, and they also see the game like a quarterback. And that's actually what Bleacher Report had to say about Warren, saying Warren thrives against zone defenses. He is a former high school quarterback and understands the importance of finding soft spots within the defense. Warren settles into those soft spots as a big weapon for his quarterback to target. His burst post-catch allows him to eat up grass quickly. He is a long strider who gallops more than sprints past defenders. As a run-after-catch threat, he plays with toughness and body control to fight through contact. Once the ball is in his hands, Warren's straight-line speed creates separation from pursuing defenders. And I totally agree with what Bleacher Report's saying. He does a great job at finding the soft spots of the zone, and I think that's key for tight ends, especially in the NFL. Like we see just a guy like Kelsey, the amount of times, Patrick Mahomes and himself have just been on that same page where, hey, I know where Kelsey's going to be. He's going to find the soft spot of the zone. So I think Tyler Warren at pick number 7, he's my dream pick for the New York Jets. Obviously, I would love for them to get Shedeur Sanders. You guys know I'm a big Shedeur guy, but that's very, very unlikely that he's going to fall to pick number 7. And maybe the 7th pick is a little rich for a tight end. But I believe Tyler Warren will step into the league and be one of the best tight ends from year 1. We have seen Brock Bowers, Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft, Dalton Kincaid, these guys who have came out over the last couple of years, they have hit at an all-time rate. So I'm a big fan of this guy, and that would be my dream pick and pick number 7 for the New York Jets. But we definitely got to address the right tackle position of the offensive line here in New York, and we're going to go with the Texas right tackle Cameron Williams. Now, he was infamously part of the Jack Sawyer strip sack that he took to the house at the end of the Texas-Ohio State game. He got beat off the ball pretty poorly, pretty bad in that setting. But, he had a solid year for Texas. He is a big body tackle. He would add some physicality to that offensive line. And this is how PFF graded him out this season in 975 snaps played. Overall grade 67.4, pass block 73 flat, run block 70.8. Now, he did have a penalty issue, 16 penalties on the season, and did have 5 sacks allowed. But he is no doubt a very raw prospect, and he would need some time to develop. So I don't know if the Jets could treat him, second-round pick, have him start off, being the second-string right tackle. Maybe they sign a veteran guy on a 1-year, $5 million deal in free agency. Then they have Cameron Williams, learn from the veteran, and then develop behind the scenes. But I actually do think if you were able to solidify that right tackle spot, the Jets have a pretty damn good offensive line here. Now, you still got a question mark in Olu Fashanu, even though he looked pretty solid in very limited action this year before he got hurt early on in the season. But I love John Simpson. Joe Tippmann's a stud. Elijah Vera Tucker, very up and down so far in his NFL career. He's also dealt with some injury history, but I like the interior of the offensive line. And if you hit on Olu Fashanu and then you hit on a guy like Cameron Williams, this is a young, violent offensive line here for New York, and I think it could be a good building, just group and position group for the Jets here for the near future. But we'll dive into 3 more names that we'll talk about for the New York Jets here in a second. But I need you guys to name a player the Jets need the draft. Drop that prospect name down below in the comment section, whether it's Tyler Warren, Shedeur Sanders. You guys let me know, what prospect do the New York Jets need the draft? Now we're going to add some talent to the defensive line here in round 3, and we're going to take Jordan Phillips, defensive lineman out of Maryland, at pick number 92. So I actually do want to share with you guys what the 33rd team had to say on Jordan Phillips. Rick Spielman was a part of writing this article, and as we know, Rick Spielman, now a part of the New York Jets front office here. So he said Maryland defensive tackle Jordan Phillips projects as an athletic starting nose tackle at the NFL level. This is a young talent who, as a redshirt sophomore, posted impressive tape as a point of attack defender with lateral range and the anchor ability to hold the point and protect his linebackers. He is a very good first step and heavy hands that create momentum for power rushes back into the lap of the quarterback. Phillips is built squatty and low to the ground, which affords him ample natural leverage to anchor double teams. That's huge at the defensive tackle position because you just need a guy that can create open lanes for the linebacker position, like a guy like Quincy Williams. But what about Quincy's brother Quinn in here? I would love for the Jets to add more talent around him because, it's kind of like you double down on a good thing, make it a great thing. Like the Jets have a good defensive line here. You got one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Let's take a risk on a guy who has a ton of potential in the league, like Jordan Phillips in the 3rd round, and add some more talent around Quinn and Williams. I think it would be a very solid pick in the 3rd round. But we're going to kick the round 4 here, and we're going to go the quarterback out of Alabama. Now, a very polarizing player. People have a lot of passionate takes on this guy, Jalen Milroe, at pick number 108 in this year's draft. Now, obviously, Jalen has the dual threat ability. He's a freak athlete with the football in his hands, but the passing side of the game is where he needs to see some development. Now, the big question will be for Jalen at the next level, can you win in the pocket? Because he has all the tools. Like, he can make almost every throw there. He throws a really pretty deep ball, but can he stand in the pocket, consistently deliver 5-yard outs after 5-yard out, and just dink and dunk his way down the field, which is a huge part of the NFL game. But more to the dual threat ability here, the man had 20 rushing touchdowns this past season. Like, that's just a ridiculous stat from Jalen Milroe. Has that dual threat ability. And plus taking him in round 4, I honestly don't think it would be like, obviously it would be a risk since you're taking Jalen Milroe. And listen, I'm not a Jalen Milroe truther. Like, I'm not saying, hey, the Jets are going to draft him in round 4 and this is going to be the franchise quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. But I would roll the die with him in the 4th round because he does have all-time potential. He's got all these, physical traits that you would need to be a very, very successful NFL quarterback. But Jalen Milroe, can he win from the pocket? A lot of question marks around him. Maybe you bring back Aaron Rodgers. You have Milroe sit behind Rodgers for a season. I don't hate that idea, but I would 100% just roll the die here in the 4th round with the quarterback from Alabama. Now, I'm going to get to my 5th round pick here. Kobe King, linebacker out of Penn State. I didn't know who this guy was before I started doing this video, and I was running through my PFF mock draft, and I saw a guy named Kobe King. I was like, we got to take him. And then I started looking more into him. I'm actually a big fan of his game, and there's no doubt he passes the name test. And I'm not saying, oh, you got a good name, you're going to be a good NFL player, but I like a guy with the name Kobe King here. But on a real note, I did dive into a little bit of his tape here before recording today's show, and just a quick scouting report here. So he's got elite instincts. He flies around to the football. He is very physical as well, and he's kind of got that old school linebacker mold where he does have some weak coverage skills. He's not going to be a guy like Fred Warner dropping back in the coverage, Luke Kuechly, and he's intercepting balls left and right, and he does have some height limitations. Now, my pro comp for him is going to be Ivan Pace Jr., linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. Same build, a smaller linebacker, but he's old school. He can lay some big hits. But Ivan Pace, he was supposed to be a top 100 pick. He went undrafted in that year the Vikings took him or signed him as a UDFA. I could see the same thing happening for Kobe King, and Ivan Pace turned out to be one of the better linebackers in the National Football League. So I take a risk on Kobe King in round number 5. And again, it's a 5th round pick. I'd rather have, your 5th round picks be more boom or bust potential rather than like round 1 where I'm taking Tyler Warren, where I am 99.9% sure he's going to work out in the NFL. So that's my dream. Mock draft for the New York Jets. We'll do a lot more of these as the offseason continues. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, just give me a Go Jets down below in the comment section so I can know where all the real ones are at. And also make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That's the link at the bottom of your screen right now. Hit that subscribe button, help us out, and we'll see you guys next time. Go Jets.